Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is a request from a viewer. She wanted to know if I feel mentally drained at the end of the day. I will talk about some instances where I felt mentally drained at the end of the day, but for the most part, it depends on how you're looking at your profession in medical coding. So for me, that I've matured and I've grown up, basically now I've hit a level of growth where I feel like okay, I understand more. I don't understand everything, but I do understand a lot more now. I can see things more clearer. And in the beginning, I had a hard time doing time management. That was one of the things that I had to learn in the beginning, so that I didn't feel so drained at the end of the day, because I felt like I was just spinning my wheels and not getting anything done. So when you're looking at being the entire package with medical coding, you have to learn how to manage your time, communicate effectively, and learn how to, teach and using different methods, whether it's visual or written. You have to, learn how to do those things. I've taken ABRINGER training, and if you don't know what that is, be sure to check out the ABRINGER Institute online. They have wonderful self-help tools to how to manage yourself in your career. They talk about how to deal with people, how to deal with different situations, and that has really helped me to know how to manage myself and my response to different scenarios. So once I learned that really did change how I felt at the end of the day, because I didn't feel after a while that I was spinning my wheels, because I was learning how to do time management. And when I learned how to do time management, then I was able to concentrate on other things, and then I could get more creative, because then it was just like, okay, now I have to learn how to be more effective in my communication. I have to learn how to try to work all of these things into a single day. And so when I did that, then it's just like, okay, now I start learning this, and now I start learning that. So every day I start very excited. I do have a lot of energy. I have more energy now than I did some years ago, because some years ago, and how your environment is affects a lot of how you feel at the end of the day. When I worked in the tin can, that's what I called it, a tin can. It was this little box, you know what I mean, of a room that there was 20 of us in there. And I've mentioned this before, but I've never really gone into it. Those days when I'm working with 20 women and we are all sardined in this little box, and we're in bullpens, and I was literally on an island by the door. So everybody that was literally going out the door would, either shake my chair or pull my hair, or, just tap my shoulder. Hey, how you doing? And when you're in a room with a group of women, it's just like, oh my God, you just want to be left alone sometimes. So I would often have my headphones in, and it was those days where it was just like, if I felt like I couldn't get anything done and then I was disrupted so much, then it was just like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so drained. But now I have my own space, and I have a door that I can close, and I can sit in here and I can listen to music, and I can work, and I can focus on those things. That's, at the end of the day, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, And it all depends too on how you start your day. So, true story. I had a friend that she, in part of, like I said before, surrounding yourself with good, positive people, okay? And you got to kind of watch for those people that are maybe, it's not that they mean to be negative, but their energy, if they have that same energy, and I'm going to discuss this, illustrated here in a minute. If they have that same energy, then it's just like it kind of can get contagious, okay? And so this is what happened. So what happened was, we would call and we would talk every morning, and we would be working through encounters and things, and she would say, oh, I'm so tired, oh, I don't want to be here, oh, can I go home? Every morning. This was her attitude every morning. So I tried to be as positive as I could, but when I deal with too many people like that, that drains and zaps my energy, because it's just like, okay, if you don't feel like being here, if you don't want to be in your clinic, or you don't want to be in your office or whatever, then you need to do something to change that. You know, you are the master of your destiny. And I would tell her this: you're the master of your destiny. If you are not happy, then find something else, or do what you can to make yourself happy. You know, it wasn't too long ago that I was in the room with the bullpens, and going back to that, you know, it was just very hard, you know, to be in that room. But we were in that room because we were transitioning into the new building. So that was it was just one of those things where you just kind of had to hang on just for a little bit until you could, you know, move to the new building. And it was just like, But now, like I said, when I leave here now, I don't feel that way. I do feel invigorated. And like I said, when I just passed that 10-year mark here, I am excited. When I leave here, sometimes I don't want to go home. I'm not ready to go home yet. I'm like, oh, I'm not ready to go home yet, because I want to continue to do this, or I want to continue working on this presentation, or I want to continue to read this article or whatever. And I'll often take that energy and I'll go home and I'll continue either to read an article or continue to think about how I'm going to do a presentation. Or now with you guys here on YouTube, I will go home and I will have dinner and maybe drink a glass of wine, or maybe have a beer. I don't really drink too much, but sometimes I will. It just depends. And, you know, just kind of relax, and then start looking at how I want to do a presentation, or how do I want to do my next video. What are some of the topics that I can come up with? So that's how I spend my day. And yes, I spend a lot of my time doing medical coding. This is pretty much my life. This is what I do. It is just me. So this is what I do, and I love what I do. And it's almost like, you know, it's not that you become obsessed with what you do, but you do enjoy it because you continue to learn. I mean, think about it. I've never been to medical school. There are so many things that I don't know, you know? And so I'm literally like self-teaching myself all these things about the disease process and the body, and how to do this in coding, and what does it mean for these rules. And so it's just kind of like, you know, if you want to learn, if you want to continue to learn, that it kind of breathes new life into you. And that's how I feel. I feel like, you know, I feel like my energy has renewed with medical coding. And like I said, the only time it really did stress me out before was when I was around so many distracting people, or if I was around sort of that negative you know, vibe, you know. And I just, after a while, with my friend that had done that, it was just like, okay, I can't keep listening to that sort of thing. And so it's just like, let me just kind of cool it with those phone calls, and not have to, you know, listen to that, because it's so much, you know. And nothing against her. I don't even think that she even meant to do it. It was just more of that she probably didn't think about what she was saying, you know. So always try to be conscious about what you're saying and how you're looking at your day. And I've told her before, I was like, you know, when you start your day like that, oh, I want to go home, I don't want to be here, that's the kind of energy that you're going to get back. For me, when I'm rushing to get here, and sometimes I do run, I am running to get to my desk in time. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta hurry up, you know. And because like I said, I gotta send a email to let my boss know that I'm here, and you know, thankfully I make it, you know. And so I've been caught a few times running in, you know, 5 minutes till, and I'll hear, you know, hey Blue, stop running, you know. And to which I have turned around and said, I'm just so excited about medical coding, I can't wait to get to it. So that was funny when the first time I said it, you know. But that's just, you know, one of those things. So it really does depend on how you look. What is your overall look? How is your attitude towards what you're doing, you know? When I did bartending, I didn't have a bad attitude towards it, but I knew, like, in the back of my mind, at the end of the night, my feet were going to be killing me, and my lower back was going to be killing me because, you have to bend over and, pick up the crates with all the beer bottles in it. And then, you're grabbing bottles, and you're, having to pick up cases of glass, and you're just trying to, like, hurry up, and then you have to deal with, inebriated people, and that was emotionally taxing as well, because, people are not in their right mind, and they're talking to you, and sometimes they say some very fresh things. And sometimes they're just upset, and they just want somebody to listen, and so you just kind of have to sit there and you listen to them. So, those were, it's not like it wasn't fun. It was, but it had its moments too. And so I think that was probably one of my more stressful jobs. Working at the halfway house was another stressful job for me too, because it was just like, it was another one that was physically demanding, where I was literally on my feet, and then I had to, like, be aware and watch everything, because, these were, people that needed to be watched and helped and taken care of. And so it's just like, if you're trying to manage them, and you're just watching, and by the time 10 hours goes by, because I would work, anywhere between 10 and 12 hour shifts, but most of the time I was just like, 10 hours, I'm done, guys. I can't anymore with 10. I have to stop at 10, because it was just like, I was literally, like, my feet were so sore, and I was just like, oh my gosh, so, now that I've been in medical coding, and, I do sit at a desk, and it's very sedentary, so you have to make sure that you work out, because I can't just snack all day either. And working out, I will let you guys know, it does help with the energy levels too, because there are some times when my own primary care provider should be like, so I had a personal story, right? My blood sugar was a little high. Okay, I'm not diabetic, and at the time, I'm not even now, and but it was just like, you're going into that pre-diabetic. I need to put you on metformin, or something, And I'm like, no, I don't want to go on pills right now. I just want to try to, get this down. She's like, well, I'm going to give you 6 months, to try to get that down and get it back to normal. And if you're still out of control, or if it's going any higher, if that shows, I'm going to have to put you on something. So I said, okay. She goes, I want you walking for 30 minutes a day. So I was like, okay, you got it. And she's like, oh yeah, and another thing, your cholesterol is a little high. I was like, oh, but that's just like what I like to eat. And it's just like, she's like, what are you eating? I'm like, oh, fried eggs and potatoes and things like that. And she's like, I said, bacon. And she goes, stop with the bacon. So I was like, okay. And so she said, I'm giving you 6 months. And if you don't get yourself together, I'm going to have to put you on medication. So I was like, okay, I do not want to do that. I don't want to do any medication. Let me try to get this. And she said, okay. So I turned myself around at the end of the day, at the end of a work day, I started walking 30 minutes. And then that 30 minutes started turning into an hour. And it was just like, I was starting to learn I had a little bit more energy after that, because anything I had gone through during the day, whether it was good or bad, you know what I mean? I could just, when I was walking, I was just like, could clear my mind and not really have to think about anything. And my A1C completely turned around, and my cholesterol really dropped, because I had started eating a lot of avocado, and that was a really good thing, because I'd done research on avocado that it has healthy fats and things like that in it, and it really did. I mean, I was literally eating one a day, and or I would eat half of an avocado a day. And just, a little bit more, a little bit in the morning, and then, with my sandwich, and I would have, turkey sandwich, turkey sandwich. And I would just do that. And so I noticed that, of course, I didn't feel as tired, because I had more energy, because I was walking, and I had lost weight, and my numbers had got back under control. And when my provider saw me 6 months later, she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, you did it without medication. She goes, that's wonderful. She goes, everything was trending downwards. And so it was just like, cool. And then she goes, okay, good. She goes, well, I'm going to have you come back in another 6 months. I'm going to make sure that you're staying on track. And I'm like, what? And then she goes, yes. She goes, I want you to continue to walk for 30 minutes a day. So I said, okay. So the second time I continued to walk, but I didn't walk every day like I had been. And so it's just like, but my numbers petered, and they were still trending downward, which was good. And I think, having asthma, that was what, affected me, really wanting to be out there and exercising, because I would start to walk in the beginning and like I'd feel like that tightness, and if you have asthma, you understand, when you start to work your lungs, it's it's a little scary in the beginning. So, but yeah, that's I think that when you are working in any field, whether it's medical coding or anything, having that way to balance your energy and renew yourself also affects your outlook in how you are with your work, so yeah. But that's, like I said, I leave here and, I try to always start the day very excited. I try to get enough rest. The days that I do not get enough rest, I can feel it. And, I try to, as somebody that reads all day long, the effects of what sleep deprivation can do, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, oh, let me make sure I get some sleep, or make sure I get enough rest, or, learn to turn the ringer off, on my phone so that I'm not getting disturbed, during the night, or I'm not getting disturbed when I need to rest, so, that's my bit of advice on that one. But, like I said, I mean, I'm not saying that every day is great, because that would be a lie. There are some days when I leave here, I feel like I've been beat up, you know what I mean? Like mentally, because of whatever I've had to either argue, or that I've had to go through on, just trying to make sure that I'm getting everything for this provider, make sure that I'm, capturing everything I can. This is why I try to make myself as good as I can and try to make myself better every day, because I feel like I owe it to them. I owe it to the profession of medical coders to be a good example of what a good medical coder is, because whatever they learn from you, whether it's, how to document properly, or, about, doing proper diagnosis selection, they carry that on to other places that they go. And, you never know how instrumental you are, in that, And so that's just one of the things that I try to do. And I'm glad I'm doing this channel now, because I feel like at least, I can share these ideas. And, because sometimes, the people closest to you don't want to know, you know what I mean? They want to do things their way. And I think if you get the same results and you're doing the same thing, that it's insanity, right? Because you have to kind of change things. You have to change your approach if you want a different result. And so for me, going to conference every year and investing in myself and going through ABRINGER training and any leadership classes that I see, I take those as well. I read leadership books as well too, because I think that when you learn how to command a room, or you learn how to, make sure that your point is being made in a direct and appropriate way, I said and appropriate. I know it sounds like inappropriate, right? Direct and appropriate way. I think that it's more efficient for your time. It's more efficient for the person who's listening to you. So that's why I try to not say too much, but I still say it a lot. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But yeah, that's pretty much how I feel at the end of the day. Sometimes it's not so good, but most days it's good. you know, and I can't wait to see what the next day is going to bring, or what else can I learn today. Yeah. So just remember that, just some key points. You know, if you want to look at this as a long haul career, great. You know, start investing in yourself, and that will help you, because the more confident that you can get, the better you're going to feel at the end of the day, because it's just like, okay, I know I did this, and I know that I captured everything that was entitled from my provider, you know, because I'm very good at what I do. You know, that's the attitude to have, you know, and always be willing to learn, and be willing to listen, you know, to others, you know, and that's another thing I've learned too, you know, be willing to listen to others. So that's my video for today, ladies and gentlemen. So I will be back tomorrow for Quiz Friday. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Quiz Friday. So I will talk to y'all tomorrow. So if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider or a nurse, I hope you will like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.